What is up, my fellow creepers and things that go bump in the night? Welcome back to yet another episode of Creature of the Night. I am your host, Toxin. Of course, you should know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell to let you know every time I upload so you can keep up to date with me, guys. Let's get it going. I guess you could classify it as horror. It's more just the fact that it has creatures in it, particularly aliens, and I found it fascinating. This is one of the first movies, forgive me, I don't know his real name. I just know him as Finn from the Star Wars, the new Star Wars trilogy. So yeah, this is when I was first introduced to him, but the inner city versus outer space. And I'm talking, of course, of Attack on the Block.
We need to get off the streets, back in the block.
Wait, this is safe. Good luck.
When I first heard about this film, it was actually kind of difficult for me to find it. It was, I don't want to say when it first came out, but it was a few years ago when I first discovered it. I believe, honestly, the first time I seen it was on YouTube. I just kind of I typed in Attack on the Block in the search engine, and I was like hoping maybe I'd just see a trailer just to see if it caught my interest, but I ended up finding the whole movie on there for free. So I ended up watching it that way. And now I believe it's on Amazon Prime, but it's definitely a Blu-ray for me. We see how it is, how life is in the inner city. You know, people growing up on the hood, or how they call it, the block. Because I believe it is over there. It's in London. You could tell by their hardcore, thick British accents. It's pretty on the nose. But we meet this group of kids who's led by Finn. He plays a character named Moses in this film, and they're actually robbing. They're robbing this lady, and they see something fall from the sky and destroy a car next to them, and something emerges from it. Some kind of creature that's white. They don't know what the hell it is. They call it a monkey. They call it a dog. They don't know what it is, but it scratches up Moses pretty well. And I didn't grow up in the hood or anything like that, but a lot of my family did. A lot of my cousins did. A few of my friends from high school actually did too. So I was around it a lot. So just knowing their attitude and the way they behave towards certain situations, these people are no different. They're not gonna let it go. So they went after and attacking it. And that's when we find out later on that was like the biggest mistake that they could have made. By killing this thing, they unleashed some kind of fluid that it had on it, or maybe it's just its blood, who knows, some kind of pheromone, and it gets attached to all of them. And that thing is this little thing that they had really no trouble killing, in my opinion. It's not the big threat that is coming. This is the female, and it's leading an army of males. And these creatures, I don't know, like, it's, in my opinion, I'm gonna be honest, they're kind of like basic looking creatures, but they're terrifying nonetheless, just because, like, you know, they're so pitch black that you could barely see them. Like, even if there's one, after they kill one, it's laying in front of them, and they kind of run their hands through its fur, and their hands just kind of disappear. Like, that's how dark it is. It's just so hard to see. And so you can imagine it being late at night, and they see these things, they can see these things or something moving in the shadows, and what they think is eyes is actually just their teeth lighting up. So their teeth are kind of like hollow, and they light up some kind of like turquoise color that glow, and then that's how you know when they're dead too. Is like when the light kind of fades. So they take the body of the female, and you know it's worth a lot of money. Why not? You know, they keep it in the safe of where, like, I guess the drug dealer's penthouse. There's a huge gigantic room that they converted it to a safe to where they can keep their marijuana that they sell, and they keep the body in there. And this is when Moses kind of gets into a little bit of trouble as well, because he is now a carrier for this major drug dealer who's becoming a rapper as well. And they see more asteroids falling from the sky, so they say, fuck it, let's gear up and let's go. They're gonna go kill more money in their eyes. But as they approach it, like I said, them seeing these creatures and how big they are and how much more ferocious they are, they're like, okay, yeah, this is not what we killed originally. We made a huge mistakes. But the thing is, they just don't understand why. It's like, it's unrelentless. It seems to be after them, like, without any hesitation. They are being hunted at, like, non-stop. they being arrested because the woman that they robbed reports them. It's the cops. They robbed the car that Moses is being held in because they arrested him, and they end up crashing into the drug dealer's car, completely demolishing it. And now they're on his hit list. And one of these creatures, obviously, you're gonna be telling them what's going on. Like, hey, we're being hunted by these big wolf gorilla type things. I believe is how they describe it. And of course, hearing this, you're not gonna believe this shit. Like, oh, aliens are coming. Like, really? Like, come on, man. You just seen one too many movies. Until his best friend is actually torn apart limb from limb by one of them. Still, like, it still doesn't matter to this drug dealer. He still wants to go after Moses. He just sees that Moses betrayed him, that he brought the laws into the block, and now he wants Moses out of the picture. And as they're making their way through their apartment complex, this huge apartment complex, they're going floor by floor. Everywhere they're going, people are getting killed. Pieces of his gang are being picked off one by one, and it just seems to be following them through the inside and through the outside until they have to make their last stand. Like, one of their last stands, he kills Moses' friends. Dennis gets his head chopped off, and that's when it kind of makes me mad too. I was like, damn, like, Moses pretends to be this tough guy persona that a lot of, let's be honest, we know a lot of people who put that on, and he ends up in a moment where he can save his best friend's life, he doesn't, and his friend, his life he's literally decapitated, and he tries to fight and defend himself, but it takes the people he's with to give him a wake-up call and save him. Like, they end up taking the creature out for him and saving his life. Until, that's when they figure out, like, it's like, okay, they're like moths. They go from planet to planet. The female leads the pack, and they just kind of conquer and destroy whatever planet they land on. So it's pretty fucked up. It's like, it's a similar situation where we heard from different places, like signs and stuff like that. They always start from the outskirts and then work their way in. And I believe it was like the faculty, like, when he couldn't understand, why is there an alien invasion happening in our small town? Well, if you were attacking a planet or you're attacking a building, what would you do? Would you go through the front door or sneak in through the back door? Which makes perfect sense. In every alien movie, they're kind of making their way towards the big city, taking out as many as they can until they can take the big population areas out for themselves. But this one did it differently. It landed in a very heavily populated area where people are actually armed to the T, and they're not afraid of a fight. That's the thing too. Like, that's where they made a mistake. So Moses he takes responsibility. Like, okay, I fucked up. I'm getting my crew killed. Like, it's up to me. And that's when we get into a little bit of depth with Moses as well. We find out that he's actually an only child, and he's actually not living with his parents. He's living with his uncle, who's actually never there. So when there's a part where he has a plan where he's going to lure these creatures to his apartment, and blow them up, we actually see that there's really nothing. It's vacant. He has a bed, like I think a twin-size bed with a little TV. The electricity's on, yeah, but it doesn't look like there's any food about. It just looks like a crash pad. Like, it's just like if a squatter was living there. If you know what a squatter is, it's just kind of messed up. And that's when we find out, like, yeah, he's on his own, so he has to put on this tough guy persona to just get through life, essentially. And I like that they made it about the inner city, growing up in the ghetto, the hood, or whatever you want to call it, the barrio, whatever you want to call it, whatever makes you feel better. A lot of times it is like that. I've heard stories from my friends, from my mother growing up, from her friends that she's heard, like, just different situations where people were like, just basically alone. They had no food. I remember one story where somebody was eating salt little by little just because there was no food in the kitchen, or a group of brothers came home late one day, like late at night. I get, that's a bad situation already, be home at a certain time, but them coming home late, that the mother would actually lock them out of the house and let them sleep on the porch. It didn't matter if it was hot or cold, whatever. They slept outside, or they went to a friend's house. It's a fucked up situation. There's a different mentality. Not saying, because I did grow up in a different, like I said, I didn't grow up in that kind of neighborhood. I grew up in a different neighborhood. Not saying that there's not fucked up people where I grew up, but it's very hard. And I hate to say, I don't want to be that person that says, like, you're a product of your environment. You kind of adapt, like, or anything like that. Like, people, I've seen success stories. People have gotten out of this situation. So I believe as a collective, we are there, yes, but it's not impossible to crawl out of the ooze and be something in life. Got preachy again. I apologize, but it leads to where Moses actually takes the body of the female and runs like hell to his apartment, to his apartment, and where the gas is already filling up the room, and he ends up blowing all of them up with a firecracker. And the reason I said about the whole spiel I did, preaching about that you're not a product of your environment, he ends up becoming a hero in the block. People look up for him. He still gets arrested. You know, people don't know what the hell's going on. There were talks about a second one being in the works, but it actually turns out it's been talked about a lot. So I don't know if it's gonna happen or what. Like, you know, it's they even have a title, you know, Attack of the Block 2, War in the Shadows, or something like that. Maybe they stole that from TMNT. I don't fucking know. But I hope they do make a second one. It was very interesting. Again, the creatures were my favorite part. Just making them different. Again, a dog, gorilla type, wolf motherfuckers, whatever they call them. They looked amazing. The pitch black, I love that because that makes it more scarier. People are already scared of the dark, and making your enemy that much harder to see in the dark is fucking amazing. I love that. The whole thing about that, it is just, you know, they're kind of just drifting on solar winds and going to planet, killing the planet, and then taking it over from themselves, and then moving on and doing it to the next one. I love the whole thing, and again, giving a shout out to like the block, to the hood, to the body of the ghetto. Like, it shows that, you know, we can come together as a people if we wanted to. I wish we did that a lot more, but we don't. Like, I wish that was something. So it does show like people are gonna do what they can to do to survive, not just what they're dealing with on a daily day. But if there's an outside invasion, they're gonna handle it the way they can. Yeah, guys. So like I said, I saw it on YouTube for free. If you don't have Amazon Prime, you know, obviously Amazon Prime, you can watch it, but on YouTube it is for free. Just type in Attack on the Block. Funny, I give it 2 thumbs up, 10 out of 10 for me. A must see. It's definitely a Blu-ray, guys. I loved it. It was funny. It was scary at times. It made you angry, and it kind of just, you know, I hope it kind of like it shows you like what people go through in that kind of environment. But guys, again, I am Toxin. Always remember, if you're not sinning, you're not having fun. Beware the moon, guys.